Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest episode of our entertainment show. As you know, in part three of our entertainment show each week, we premiere a new TV series or movie that is debuting in Ireland and the UK, and especially here in Ireland, where Irish eyes are smiling. And up for discussion this week is a slasher horror gore movie that is coming out here on April the 28th. It's called Killer Goats. And if you want to know some of the cast members in this, we have the famous Kane Hodder, who's known in his time for Jason X and Jason Voorhees and the Freddy Krueger films. There's also Danielle Matters, Brianna Kelum, Monica Sims, Skyler Seymour, Ellie Gonzalez, and one of the star leads of the show. She plays the character Audrey Buckleby, the one and only Arielle Raycene. And Arielle, was it always your sort of dream as a child actress? How exciting is it to be played a central role in a horror type slasher movie? Did you grow up watching Screams in the late 2000s, early sort of 90s? And you always think to yourself, whoa, I like to be in that sort of position myself in terms of getting to run around with a maniac, dare I say, chasing me? Not watching it in real life, of course.
I've always wanted to be a maniac. Like I was a bit of a maniac in this, or crazy in a movie or as a part. But I never really watched a lot of scary things growing up because it really scared the living crap out of me. So I never watched any of that stuff. I did watch Scream and I thought it was scary. And I know it's supposed to be funny, but like anything scares me. So playing scared for as long as I did in this movie was like it was a lot. And then I was scared for like months on afterwards. Like I had nightmares because I had to make myself scared the whole time. Yeah, so that happened. But I mean that's a real thing. I guess, if you're in that state, then you're gonna be dreaming in that state too. So
Yeah, so obviously the horror effects in terms of the brain and the mind found that bit sort of disturbing, which can that sort of happen. I know it's happened to myself a few times when I was young growing up. The sort of things you can see, they can leave disturbing sort of visual sort of images in terms of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Arielle, obviously, in terms of horror movies, Kane Hodder is a sort of a legend in terms of those, and in terms of what he is portrayed in Freddy the Krueger, Jason X, in terms of awesome. Getting to work with him and getting to know that he's the guy that's going to be chasing around you, and he's the antagonist. He's Ghostface himself, I suppose. Was that exciting, exhilarating, and as I said, is he a bit of a daunting character as well?
Yeah, I would say, he was really nice, but I think he was focused on staying in character. So he was always like a little like his character, even when he wasn't. So he just had a little bit of a mystery about him, even on set, like not shooting. It was cool.
And I suppose these type of movies, just to give our audience a premise, it's about Audrey as a graduation gift. She gets her dream house and she brings a uninvited guest team to come to this house, and it turns into a living nightmare. Is it got the things of dare I say, those house party, those sort of teens? Is it sort of raunchy? Is it like the college teen raunchy horror where there's that bit of love interest, that bit of sex, nudity, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of nudity and sexy parts. It's like a little silly because it's like it's a bunch of girls hanging out and we're like, oh, of course we're just like kind of walking around half dressed, right? So that part's fun. But what was the question? Did I draw off the question?
In terms of this sort of the consequential, these sort of movie teen sort of love interest, and these horror movies, they sort of play out where these sort of raunchy sort of hormonal sort of teens in terms of trying to, dare I say, get their conquests, and then obviously the evil part comes in. It's almost like they're being punished for indulging in sort of other affairs.
Yeah, well, in this instance, I would say that the house kind of made everyone go insane. or it made me go insane anyways, because I didn't know who was doing what inside.
And Arielle, you mentioned there about some of the concepts, and I haven't seen the movie myself. I've seen the sort of the trailer for it, and you mentioned some of those. Dare I say, they can be controversial topics, and I know this is rated for an older sort of audience in terms of that. So, in terms of as a young actress as well, was it daunting? Did you have to play scenes of a sexual nature, or scenes where obviously that you were obviously, dare I say, partially naked or nude, or I don't know what the sort of terminology in
Yeah, no,
terms of
I
that.
wasn't.
Did you find that sort of daunting or
Yeah,
challenging?
definitely. This was my first time being any kind of, and I wasn't nude actually in it, but implied is what they call it.
Mm.
When yeah, so this was my first time, and it was absolutely daunting. I was like trying not to do any of the stuff when I first moved to LA, like any implied or whatever. But then it's just kind of part of life and part of Hollywood. You got to take your clothes off at some point almost. I mean, you don't have to, but for obviously if you're going to be in a horror film, that's just that is how you make a horror film, right? It's like part of
And,
the science to it.
and Arielle, in terms of, let's talk about the sort of horror aspect in terms of it, in terms of the some sort of the death scenes, in terms of the gore effect, in terms of the stunts team. What was the stunt team like in Killer Goats in terms of portraying these sort of, dare I say, these blood, this gore, these sort of deaths that do come about in every sort of horror movie? Were you working with a state-of-the-art sort of visual effects and sort of makeup, and was makeup long days for you?
Yeah, so I was definitely working with stunt groups or stunt men and women. My woman was the stunt woman. She was amazing. She would teach me like everything about the sword, because I did some of my own stunts that they call, but like there was a part where I fell down the steps, and obviously that wasn't me. But I mean, stunt people they're killers, man. They work really hard and they do the craziest things. For makeup, yes. So every single day my blood had to be the exact same. So we had to do the blood every single day the exact same, and I was covered in blood so every single day. So yeah, that was the makeup for that was hours, but it was just like blood, but it had to look the exact same, so they just compared pictures every single day.
And in terms of obviously the horror movies, the sequence, the chase there, I say, the cat and mouse sort of element that comes in terms of being pursued, in terms of that. In terms of, as you mentioned, a stunt double, but was that sort of exciting, exhilarating to take part in some of your sort of stunts, and the sort of anticipation of the chase there, I say?
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun doing that. That was probably my favorite part, because I was learning a new skill and like figuring out how to use this tool or this weapon or whatever that I was doing, or how to fall correctly if I had to fall, and fight if I was fighting with the sword or the axe, which I did do. The axe, used an axe, fake axe, but yeah.
Yeah. And Arielle, in terms of the shooting of the movie now, in terms of where it was sort of shot as well, was it where did you shoot, and was it a long sort of production? Were you talking 4 to 6 weeks, and were the sort of long days?
It
Obviously,
was a
you being the
couple
principal character.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks. We shot in Cape Cod. It was winter, and we had to act like it was summer. So we were always cold, and we were like in bikinis and stuff. So we had to pretend that we were hot, act that we were hot. And yeah, we basically shot at night too. So we'd sleep during the day and shoot at night and until morning, sunrise.
And what was that sort of like in terms of that as an actress, sort of preparing yourself for nighttime work, dare I say, in terms of trying to get those sort of sleep times and sleep patterns during the day? That must have been sort of challenging, in terms of your body's telling you that you need to go to sleep, but your biological clocks is telling you something's not right here, that I don't go to bed. I know myself, I'm a late sleeper, so it'll be 12, maybe half 11, 12 in the night before I sort of crash in sleep. So what was that like for you, in terms of, did you have to try and take, dare I say, medication or sleeping tablets at start to get used to it?
Yeah, so I mean, it's like flying to a different country, right? When I fly to a different country, I try to always take something to get on the clock. But you know, after the first day of shooting at night, and you're so like high off the adrenaline of shooting, I am anyways, because I love it, and there's just so much going on, so much concentration and all that stuff. And then you're exhausted by the time you're done, so it's easy to catch, like, to get on that rhythm of sleeping all day and shooting all night. So it happens pretty organically and faster than I'd say going to a different country and trying to get your biological clock to like be on that time zone.
Yeah. And Arielle, in terms of Killer Goats going international, in terms of going outside the USA and Canada, and obviously getting to be seen all over the country, was that a pleasant surprise for you? Were you aware at the start that this role, that this movie might get cinematic release, that it might wander outside the USA and Canada?
Yeah, I had no idea actually at the time because I shot this many moons ago. So
Yeah.
when I was shooting, I had not a clue.
Okay. And Arielle, in terms of the horror genre, are you, dare I say, in terms of an actress, do you like the sci-fi? Do you like romance, action movies? In terms of, is horror something that, is this your first venture into horror? And dare I say, will it be, well, it won't be your last, will it?
This is my first venture into horror, and I'm definitely down to do it again. I love to scream. I love the whole thing. I think it's a lot of fun to make. Um, my favorite genre probably is the rom-com comedy or a time period piece like from the 60s or 70s.
Okay, and Arielle Raycene, I do believe it's a prominent time for you at the moment. You've an awful lot of projects in the pipeline that might be coming our way later in 2023 across the pond here in Ireland. You might enlighten some of our viewers, some of our listeners about what's in the pipeline. Exciting times for Arielle Raycene.
Yeah, I have a guest appearance on Bumpkus, which is Pete Davidson's new TV show coming out on Peacock. And last year I was in Canada shooting a Mel Gibson film. I don't know when that's going to come out. And then later this month, I am going to Oklahoma to shoot a Christmas movie.
Okay, fantastic times ahead for Arielle Raycene. And Arielle Raycene, before we came on air, you mentioned that you've some Irish DNA running through your veins.
Yes, I do. I am Irish. My mom's side of the family is Irish and German, and then my dad's side's Italian. But I've never been to Ireland, but it's on my to-do list.
Okay, so multilingual an actress in terms of that. You might have a couple focal in terms of the Irish sort of language going forward.
I need to work on the accent. Maybe you can teach me.
No problem, Arielle. Anytime you venture here, we'll give you a guest tour around Ireland. That's definitely on the cards. Arielle Raycene, for the final 30 seconds now, you might enlighten all our viewers, all our listeners, why they should go to the cinema en masse on April the 28th, whether they'll be going by train, plane, automobile, tractor, bicycle, scooter, donkey, horse and cart, whatever the mode of transport, get into their cinema, sit on their recliner, their seat, put the feet up, have the popcorn, have the Pepsi, the Maltesers, put the hands behind the head, watch Killer Goats, and what's in store for them, Arielle?
Absolutely. It's a fun adventure. You won't regret it.
Okay, on that note, Arielle Raycene, from me, Jim Conlan, to you, Arielle Raycene, we wish you all the best for Killer Ghosts. We wish you all the best for your future projects. Do come here to Ireland, do visit your ancestry, do get some that Irish, the green blood in you. But for the moment, Arielle Raycene, from me, Jim Conlan, to you, Arielle Raycene, stay safe, take care, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. God bless.